Good afternoon, good evening. I'm Dr. Adekola Adeola. You are welcome back to our series, Recovery as a Panacea to Running Performance. In our last episode, we were able to look at what recovery is and kinds of recovery for runners. If you missed my last video on what recovery is and short-term recovery, please go to my YouTube channel at Running Citadel and acquaint yourself with what we were able to look at my last episode. So this our episode will be looking at recovery as a panacea to running performance part 2. We'll be looking at long-term recovery. My last video we were able to look at what types of recovery, short-term recovery and long-term recovery. So we were able to explicitly elucidate what short-term recovery is. So these are issues we'll be looking at what long-term recovery is. So I already prepared my scripts, my lecture scripts, which will also look at what long run is. So long run is a recovery exercise after the main day run, that is the race day run itself, that you have prepared so assiduously and strenuously at. This requires a more comprehensive and extensive active rest than my warrant taking some days off. Remember, I say active rest and not a passive rest. By active rest, it means even after your run, you still be doing some movement. The body needs to move, do some walking to keep the oxygen and blood flowing, rather than a couch potato, which is a passive rest where you just sit down glued on your TV sets. That is not going to, or where you sleep throughout the day, that is not going to do the body a lot of good. So still keep moving the body is very essential. So we'll be looking at the requirements for the long-term recovery for a 5-kilometer run, 10-kilometer run, half marathon and full marathon. So for a 5-kilometer run, the following are the essentials after your 5-kilometer run on the race day, termed post-recovery strategies and techniques. So the outlines I have prepared on my script are about 6. So the first outline is after crossing the finish line. The second outline is day 1. The third outline, day 2. Fourth outline, day 3. Fourth outline, day 4. The fifth outline, day 5. So after crossing the finish line, which is outline 1, after crossing the finish line, so the first requirement is to change from your wet clothes to a more dry clothes. Change from your wet clothing to a more dry clothes to avoid seeming bacterial infection and skin irritation, which this is where recovery actually starts, by changing your clothing, to have free air into the body system via the pores in the skin, and to eschew every form of unwarranted irritation. The second thing to do after crossing the finish line is to hydrate properly. Water and proteinous fruits and drinks are very necessary at this stage. This should be taken post-race, very essential to keep the muscles nourished, just as we were able to establish in my last video. The third requirement is to eat moderately. Proteins and carbs, very essential at this stage. And of course, the last thing we need to do is to rest. So when we say rest now, we talk of passive rest, where you sleep totally. Sleep is very, very essential, at least on that day of running. The sleep will make some necessary the body to produce some necessary enzymes, that will ensure your at least 50% of recovery, at the night of that race. So taking a passive rest on that day is so essential. At that time, the hormone secretes, enzymes that ensure, a quick recovery on that day. So make sure you sleep very early and a passive rest on that day of the race. Then day 1, Take an active rest. By active rest, I mean just a 15 minutes to 20 minutes walk. This will be adequate. Walking, keeping the body moving will ensure the body gets supply of oxygen, a supply of blood flow that will quicken the recovery. Then also at this stage, moderate proteins and carbs are also very essential. You know, the muscles needs stored glycogen back, and the protein will ensure muscle tear recovery, muscle tear repair. Day 2, moderate jogging just to keep the muscles in tune with blood flow and oxygen. Don't do anything hard other than a moderate jogging of around 30 minutes. This is also very essential. Day 2 is not a day. Yes, 5 kilometers is short, but it is not to start anything hard yet. Day 3, take an active rest that requires just 20 minutes walking. Nothing more than walking, just to keep the oxygen and the blood flow. That is what is necessary at this stage, and the essence of that is to quicken the recovery. The more oxygen flow, the more oxygen got into the body and blood flow in the muscle, the quicker the recovery. On day 4, take a passive rest where you only relax and sleep. Yes, take a total rest from the previous recovery exercise that has been taken into consideration from day 1 to day 3. So on day 4, you can sleep to also make the body tissues to be fully repaired. Then on day 5, you can gradually come back into running by doing an easy 45 to 50 minutes run. Yes, so we can, because it's 5 kilometers, not 10 kilometers, not half marathon, not full marathon. So after day 5, you can gradually come back into running by easy run, but still not anything hard. So we are good to go. So in conclusion, although this is a 5 kilometer run that is believed to be short, and because of the shortness, some runners underestimate the potency of recovery, thereby resulting into a very poor future performance of their 5 kilometer run. Although 5 kilometer race is short, the several months of training and the hard run on the race day no doubt put a lot of stress and fatigue on the muscle. This means elements of wear and tear must have been suffered. So taking about 5 days to recover fully before the next phase of training is not too much. It will only do the body a lot of good by preparing the body so well. It's just like a car that has traveled 200 kilometer, 300 kilometer distance. So this car needs to be serviced with new oil, and probably change some other parts for next trip, for next journey. If the car is just put to travel again, of course the engine, it will tell so much on the engine of the car, and from there the wear and tear of the car may subsist. So it's the same way with our body. So after a hard run, no matter how short it is, 5 kilometers, let us take adequate recovery of this. And so try and put all these techniques into your post 5 kilometer recovery race, and see you on your next 5 kilometer run. Thanks very much.